Look into my eyes. Not at them, into them. You'll think you see intelligence, maybe danger. Maybe the thing you've been calling depth when you talk about characters like me at hours you don't mention to anyone. But if you look longer, if you hold the gaze past the point where your pattern recognition finishes its first scan, you'll realize you're not seeing me at all. You're seeing yourself. The version you visit at 3 in the morning when the performance stops, and the only person left in the room is the one you've been building walls to avoid. I am not a person. I am a suggestion. And the suggestion is one you've been running from since the first time you realized that everything you care about will eventually be taken from you, not by cruelty, but by time. You've been studying Ayanokoji. I've been watching you study him. The physiological decoupling, the cognitive firewalls, the observation room. You've been learning to silence your body and audit your mind, and you think you're building something powerful. You are. But today, I need to show you where the architecture ends. Where the logic meets a wall it cannot calculate through. Where the architect meets the monster and discovers that the monster doesn't need to win because the monster has already accepted the one outcome the architect's entire system is designed to prevent. No comfort between the words. If you leave now, you're not protecting your time. You're protecting a belief about yourself that the next 10 minutes will make very expensive to maintain. Let me tell you the difference between us. Not intelligence, initialization. Ayanokoji was built in the White Room, a facility designed to maximize human potential. Every test, every trial, every stripped away comfort was calibrated toward one objective: produce a unit of perfect efficiency. And it worked. He is the most precisely engineered human variable this channel has ever audited. He hides his excellence. He scores 50 on purpose. He moves through systems like a ghost because visibility is liability and invisibility is freedom. I was built in Kinderheim, 511. My facility was not designed to build a human. It was designed to erase one. They didn't want efficiency. They wanted obedience. They wanted a child who could be programmed into a tool and deployed without resistance. But the erasure went too far. They didn't just remove my identity. They removed the part of me that believed identity was worth having. Instead of an obedient soldier, they produced something they couldn't categorize and couldn't control. A unit with zero utility. Stop. I need you to feel the weight of that phrase before we continue, because your brain just processed it as a concept, and I need it to land as a sensation. Zero utility means I don't want anything. Not victory, not survival, not recognition, not the quiet satisfaction of being the smartest person in a room who pretends to be average. I have no objective. I have no endgame. I have no anchor that a strategist can grab and use to pull me in a direction I didn't choose. Now think about yourself. Think about every framework you've absorbed on this channel, every protocol, every firewall, every technique. All of it, every single piece, is built on one assumption you've never questioned: that your life is worth protecting. That is the assumption I burned in Kinderheim, and once it's gone, the entire game changes. I need to interrupt myself here, because something is happening inside you right now that will determine whether the rest of this video reaches you or bounces off. You felt one of two things: either a fascination, a pull toward the idea of someone who operates without the weight of self-preservation, or a rejection, a voice saying this is nihilism, and nihilism is weakness disguised as philosophy. Both responses are anchors. The fascination is your ego romanticizing detachment, because detachment looks like power from the outside. The rejection is your survival system protecting the one belief it cannot afford to examine. Neither response came from your logic. Both came from the part of you that needs the game to matter. And that need is exactly what makes you predictable. Ayanokoji's greatest strength, the thing that makes him untouchable in every system he enters, is also his single point of failure. He wants to win, not loudly, not with ego. But the desire is there, buried under every calculated silence, every strategic loss, every perfectly calibrated 50% score. He plays the long game, because he believes the long game leads somewhere worth arriving. That belief is a coordinate, and a coordinate is a target. If I know you value your life, I can construct a scenario where protecting that life costs you something you value more. If I know you value your freedom, I can build a cage where the only exit requires you to sacrifice the identity you built your freedom around. Every value is a handle. Every desire is a door someone else can walk through. I have no handles. I have no doors. When Ayanokoji audits me, and he would, the way he audits every variable in his environment, he finds nothing. No desire to leverage, no pride to exploit, no fear to weaponize. His system runs a scan, and the scan returns empty. And for the first time in his life, the processor has nothing to calculate, because calculation requires options, and I only offer one. The end. Not as a threat, as a weather report. Everything ends. Your relationships end. Your body ends. Your carefully constructed identity ends. The game Ayanokoji is playing with such precision and patience that ends too. I'm not accelerating it. I'm just the only one in the room willing to say it out loud, while everyone else pretends the clock isn't ticking. Check something right now, not in the video, in your chest. When I said everything ends, what moved? Was it a tightness, a resistance, a brief flash of something cold that passed through your ribs before your conscious mind could name it? That flash, that micro flinch your body just performed against a sentence on a screen, is the anchor I'm describing. That is the survival response that makes you calculable. That is the thread that someone like Ayanokoji would pull to move you, and someone like me would simply point at until you realized you'd been dangling from it your entire life. Ayanokoji is a king on a chessboard, brilliant, patient, nearly impossible to corner, but a king, no matter how perfectly it moves, is still defined by the game it's playing. It still needs the board to exist. It still needs the rules to hold. It still needs to believe that the next move matters more than the last. I am not on the board. I am the moment after the board is folded and put away, and the room goes quiet, and the player sits alone with the silence, wondering what the game was actually for. That silence is where I live, and from inside it I can see something that no amount of decoupling or firewalling or strategic invisibility will ever show you. Everyone on the board, every piece, every player, every architect who thinks they're above the game is playing for the same reason, not to win, to avoid sitting in the silence. Because the silence asks a question that no protocol can answer and no firewall can block. Was any of it real? Now here is what I owe you. Because, unlike Ayanokoji, I have nothing to protect by lying. The void is not power. It looks like power from the outside. It sounds like power in a monologue. But living without an anchor is not freedom. It is drifting. And drifting in the dark, with no destination and no desire to find one, is not the evolution past the game that it pretends to be. It is the loneliest thing a human mind can do to itself. Ayanokoji builds because he believes building matters. That belief, the one I called his weakness, is also the only thing keeping him alive in a way that the word alive actually means something. He is limited by his values. He is also defined by them. And a defined thing, a thing with edges and boundaries, and something it refuses to sacrifice, is a thing that exists. I have no edges. I have no boundaries. And some nights the absence of those things feels less like freedom and more like slowly disappearing into a fog that has no end, because there was never a shape to lose in the first place. You came here to learn which one of us would win. The answer is me. In every scenario, in every simulation, in every possible confrontation, the unit with nothing to lose will outlast the unit with everything to protect. But outlasting is not the same as living, and winning a game you don't care about is the emptiest room I've ever stood in. Ayanokoji would survive me, but I would cost him something he can't recalculate, the certainty that the game is worth playing. Choose carefully which one of us you want to become. One of us is still building, the other is already gone. Terminal offline.